Hello, it's MA. It's February 1st, Groundhog Eve and/or Imbolc. So all the best of all of those to you. And also tomorrow or today, I can't remember, it's February 1st or 2nd, is the Japanese festival Setsuban. So there we go. Let's look at the decks I'm going to use in February, some of which are a continuation and some of which I'm rotating in. So I started a practice where I've taken a deck and I put it out in my living space and I pull one card in the morning and leave it out for the day and don't write anything about it, don't journal. And at the end of the day, I just kind of go back and check in and see where it showed up for me. And I've been using this Tarot a Dios since the middle of January. And I really love it. I like seeing these cards set out because they're so colorful and wacky. It's letting me get to know the cards one at a time. And I'm really enjoying getting to know the tarot in general. It could be any deck in terms of where did it show up in my life today, right? So it's kind of reverse association, which is not necessarily what I'm usually doing with tarot. So I'm digging that. Someone on one of my videos where I was showing things I had jotted in a notebook commented that they thought I was being very methodical, and I just want to laugh for a moment and say I am trying new things this year. I've for many years been able to fly by the seat of my pants in a lot of areas of my life, and as I'm getting a little older, busier, and you know, I did have COVID last year, my brain can't juggle things anymore without keeping track. So I'm trying keeping track of things as kind of almost a pleasure mechanism. So I did get, you know, Hobonichi week's calendar. I'm writing in it with fountain pens, and I'm just like experimenting with tracking various things. Which perfume sample did I pull out of the tin? What card did I pull? Then maybe a note about, you know, my interpretation, how it showed up in my life. I'm tracking the fountain penning samples, the perfume samples, how many times I use them, how many times I use the various decks, how many days in a row I do Sylvain's 365 Yellow Bricks Challenge, which card I pull. Yeah, all kinds of things. So I'm playing with this because I'm finding that the tracking and the data is very pleasant for me. So I've started to add a new item to track as of today, beginning in February, and we're gonna see what that does for me. I was talking to a friend this morning and I said, you know, teacher's pet needs to get a good grade in the little mark book, and now that I'm an adult, I have to be both the teacher and the pet. So we're trying that reward system. Okay, on to decks, I promise. So I've set aside one deck that I throw in my bag when I'm leaving the house. And for this month, I'm bringing along the Asherah, the pocket version. Yeah, this is one, if I'm sitting at a table looking at it, the cards are small enough. They're very colorful. No one really gives it a second glance. Someone at work came over to me when I was sitting in the cafeteria and asked if I was winning. So I had to laugh. They thought I was playing solitaire. So there you go. Stealth tarot in the wild. Gotta love it. Okay. Next ongoing tarot usage. I gotta tell you, I am a very bare bones tarot journaler. This is my notebook for the 365 Yellow Bricks Wizard of Oz challenge. And I'm just continuing to use the Shadowland deck for that. It seems to go along with being in like a magical alternative world, and I always find the little characters on that deck very friendly, even though they're slightly creepy. Those are my people. Okay, next pair. Oh my god, my cat is over here drooling on everything. So is anybody else doing the 52-week study of the Cantigee Oracle? I am just blown away by this whole situation. I can't even. And when there are prompts in here, journaling prompts, I'm using the Brady Tarot to correspond with that. So this is just a 1 card a week situation. Even that I find hard to keep up with. At the beginning of the year, I pulled out the cards that correspond to each of the 8 turns on the Wheel of the Year, and I pulled one Dark Goddess card to go with each of them. So this is the last one for the first cycle, and later today, when I get to card 7 in Cantigee, I'll have to go pull the next Dark Goddess. But I've just found this whole thing just a really beautiful practice in terms of the readings and the book, the ecological prompts, the creative prompts, the journaling prompts. I'm just really, really happy with it. So then the way I set up the rest of my card selection for the month is I'm going with one deck that's straight up, you know, Rider-Waite or Rider-Waite clone. And this month I picked the Superlunaris. Yep, it's kind of photo manipulated photo collage. So that's my RWS. It's very, very RWS clone. So that's my RWS of the month. I'm talking so fast. I'm doing one collage deck of the month using the Jumbledance this time. This one's pretty new to me. I haven't used it that much, so I'm looking forward to spending more time with those cards. And I'm also giving myself the license that if I don't want to put something away after 1 month, I'll keep using it. So we had one RWS, one collage. Then I'm doing one pip. This one is the Self-Love Tarot. It's pretty pippy, I would say. That's, even the court cards are pretty clean. So this is the 9 of Pentacles, Ace. Some of the minors have people in them, but a lot of them don't. So I consider this a more pippish deck. It's kind of a bridge. Here's 1 7 of Swords. It's kind of a bridge into pips, so I'm using that one this month. And again, I seem to be all of a sudden like going more with color, even if it's a deck that's not like sweet. I'm just digging the color. And then I decided to go with one of the other categories I came up with was decks in their own world. So the 2 I pulled out are firstly the Mother Tarot, which again, nicely colorful. A little bit, even the system and the depictions on the cards is a little bit kind of off on its own for some of the depictions. And I don't remember if they switched air and fire for their decks or not, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to play with that one. And last tarot is that I pulled out the Druidcraft. I think all the rest of the tarots that I pulled out don't really have a substantial guidebook, so I always like to have at least one deck around that I might want to just read a little bit of the guidebook. So we'll see. Yeah, so I picked out 5 tarot that will be on the table, and then I picked out 2 oracles, and that would be the Roots and Wings mini in the recycled matchbox that I made into a box. I'm going fast, but I think most of these decks are familiar to people. So that's one oracle, and then I picked Outgrow Yourself as an oracle for the month. And because I usually do draw cards with guided questions every morning, this is a good number for me to rotate through. It's a short month, so I may find that at the end of February, I want to keep some of these out for a little longer. And that's my decks for February. Was I going to say anything about favorites? Levi at Masculine Intuition Readings, his Kickstarter for his tarot launched today, so that's up. I will put the link if I didn't post about it separately. Sarah over at Sunset Bow Tarot did a great video a week or 2 ago about fountain pens, and I am going to do a VR to that, but it's a combination of, at least a year ago, Orsi did one as well. And so I've been meaning to do a fountain pen video, and I think I recorded it twice and had to delete it. So I will do that pretty soon. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a collage peek, because I know I've alluded to that a couple of times. And I'm going to, first of all, assure you, I am not making a deck. Okay, this is a practice that I don't exactly consider divination, and I don't exactly consider it writing, and I don't exactly consider it art. And I would like to do a video later about some ways that anyone can play this way, and I think get something out of it. So the month of February, I didn't manage to do a page every day, but I think I did a total of 19 pages, where I've taken an old encyclopedia volume from 1971, the Funk and Wagnalls, volume 9, and I take a page, and I've been cutting them out of the book because it's just easier, and I've been altering the images by combining it with other images in collage, and then altering the text to come up with some kind of, I don't know what to call it. Is it a poem? Is it an aphorism? Is it I don't know, some language comes out of the text, and separating that out. So I'm just going to show you, this is where I started at the beginning of the month. And, you know, I was working away from home without my favorite materials, but really this is an exercise in play. And the first ones were kind of messy, and I haven't done this for a while, and I just wanted to get back to the practice. But I would say by the time I got to the end of the month, I think things were feeling a little tidier and a little more directed and a little loonier. And I don't know, should I read you one of these? Okay. So this one reads, surrealism of the species results from dull erosion to elude the extra-dimensional world by fusion to glass and paper. Dreams and other metallic climates muffle fluctuations of atmosphere. So oddly, when I do these kind of collage poems, they tend, and I don't write this kind of stuff, but they tend to verge into like ecological and political concerns. So I can't even explain that. But I just wanted to give you a little peek. I know I mention these things sometimes, and now you know what lunacy I'm talking about. So those were all rougher sketches. These are some older, more finished pieces. It's kind of not the best way to show them. So most of these do include language. Some of them don't. This was a project I was working on that was based mostly off of images from a David Attenborough book about climate, the world and climate change. It was like from 1980 or 90. Yeah, so just experimenting with altering the pages and playing. And most of these I do nothing with. The ones that come out tidier and have more interesting messages, sometimes they get published in, I guess, what I would call a literary journal. So that's just a little peek into what kind of wacky, quote-unquote, art is going on here. And I am someone I've had that practice playing with collage for a very long time, and it was because I was always doing some kind of other creative practice very seriously, and this has always been my outlet to say, I don't have to be good at this. I can just do it for fun. And that's kind of where we still are. And I love it. And really anyone with any interest can be doing it. And as I always like to tell people, because someone told me this, when I would say things like, oh, I always wanted to, blah, 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 blah. And I had at least one or two friends at work that just said, well, just do it, or you need to do the thing. So yeah, sometimes that's why I show people things, because I want everyone to be doing the thing and never to say no to themselves, unless it's because it's something dangerous or stupid. Anyway, that's it for my decks. Go look at Levi's Kickstarter, and I'll put a link to the fountain pen video and eventually do a VR. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Okay. Have a great month, everyone. Bye.